Hey there, followers of the Mouth That Speaks All channel. If you think history is boring, get ready to change your mind. Today, I'm bringing you historical facts so crazy, they'll make you wonder if we're living in the wrong timeline. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and hit that notification bell. Let's get started. In ancient Rome, vomiting was so common at banquets that they had a specific room for it called a vomitorium. Imagine the smell. In the 19th century, England had a window tax. They literally taxed daylight before inventing the electric bill. Abraham Lincoln created the Secret Service on the same day he was assassinated. Talk about bad timing. Vikings used dead people's bones as ice skates, the pioneers of extreme sports. The Russian army once lost a battle against Prussia because many soldiers got drunk on the enemy's beer. The first defeat by drunkenness in history. Napoleon was once attacked by thousands of rabbits. Apparently, not every small opponent is easy to defeat. The first orangutan to perform surgery was in 1945. Oh, wait, it was just a really hairy doctor. In medieval England, they believed carrots could cure everything from colds to stab wounds. The first miracle cure in history. In 1325, 2 Italian states went to war over a stolen bucket. And you thought your neighbor disputes were dramatic? Spartans trained for war by dancing, the first musical military academy. Henry VIII had a waterproof prayer book to use in the bath, the first waterproof book in history. In ancient Persia, they debated all important decisions twice, once sober and once drunk. The Persian method of decision-making. A Roman emperor appointed his horse as senator. And people say current politics is bad. Ancient Egyptians used honey as contraception. That must be where the term honeymoon comes from. During World War II, Coca-Cola created Fanta because they couldn't import syrup to Germany. Necessity is the mother of invention. In 1911, Paris almost ran out of wine because all the wineries went on strike. The biggest French crisis since the bread shortage. King Louis XIV only took 3 baths in his life. The king of French perfume? Vikings buried their dead in boats. The first maritime funeral service. During the Cold War, the U.S. planned to detonate a nuclear bomb on the moon to intimidate the USSR. Because Earth wasn't enough. In ancient Egypt, cats were so sacred that when they died, families would shave their eyebrows in mourning. Supreme feline devotion. In 1518, an entire French town was seized by an uncontrollable dancing mania that lasted a month. The first unplanned carnival. The Aztecs believed they needed to feed the sun human blood to keep it moving. The first abusive maintenance fee. In ancient Rome, gladiators did product endorsements. The first brand ambassadors in history. In 1943, a Philadelphia Navy ship supposedly became invisible during an experiment. The first case of extreme camouflage. Ancient Greeks voted to exile people they found too annoying. The first moderation system in history. In the Middle Ages, putting animals on trial for crimes was common. The first peculiar courts. Benjamin Franklin wrote an essay about flatulence. The first treatise on noble gases. Samurai spent so much time in armor that many went bald in areas covered by their helmets. The first documented case of occupational hair loss. Christopher Columbus used a lunar eclipse to get food from Jamaican natives. The first astronomical trick in history. In ancient Rome, urine was used to whiten teeth. The first questionable dental whitening. American President Calvin Coolidge had a pet raccoon in the White House, the first unusual presidential mascot. In medieval England, people believed eating rabbit during pregnancy would make the baby born with rabbit ears. The first culinary superstition. The Maya believed chocolate was food of the gods and used it in sacred rituals. Who hasn't? Genghis Khan killed so many people that he reduced carbon in the atmosphere. The first accidental environmentalist. In ancient China, doctors only got paid if the patient was cured. The first performance-based healthcare plan. Spartans gave wine to their children to show them the dangers of alcoholism. The first preventive education class. In 1518, Michelangelo received a request to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling. He replied, "I'm a sculptor, not a painter." The first case of "not my specialty." Ancient Romans used rat poison as an aphrodisiac, the first dangerous recipe from antiquity. In Victorian England, there were professional knocker-uppers. They shot peas at people's windows to wake them up. The first professional alarm clock service. Cleopatra was a pharmacologist and tested poisons on condemned prisoners. The first questionable pharmaceutical research. Vikings believed hallucinogenic mushrooms made them fiercer warriors. The first battle supplement. In ancient Rome, women drank gladiator sweat thinking it was a cosmetic. The first dubious beauty product. American President Andrew Jackson had about 100 duels. The champion of presidential duels. In the Middle Ages, people believed cats were servants of the devil. The first feline myth. Roman Emperor Caligula declared war on the ocean and ordered his soldiers to stab the water. The first case of war against nature. In ancient Babylon, poor quality beer was punished by drowning. The first food safety inspectors. The Aztecs punished misbehaving children by exposing them to pepper smoke. The first spicy punishment. In medieval England, there was a tax on beards, the first facial hair tax. Ancient Greeks held philosophical drinking competitions, the first alcoholic symposium. Rasputin survived poisoning, shooting, and beating before finally dying by drowning. The first case of superhuman resistance. Romans used urine as laundry bleach, the first alternative bleach. Emperor Nero allegedly played the lyre while Rome burned, the first musician at an inappropriate time. In ancient China, doctors could be executed if their important patients died. The first extreme medical liability policy. Vikings used ground charcoal as sunscreen, the first improvised sunscreen. In medieval England, people believed eating moldy bread cured baldness. The first dubious hair treatment. Cleopatra bathed in donkey milk to keep her skin young. The first extravagant beauty treatment. The Aztecs believed chocolate was an aphrodisiac. At least they got that one right. In ancient Rome, the rich used lead as a sweetener, the first dangerous sweetener. Spartans were required by law to marry, but also required to live separately from their wives. The first official long-distance marriage. In ancient China, toilet paper could only be used by the imperial family. The first luxury sanitary item. Vikings buried their chiefs in ships with enough beer to last the entire journey to Valhalla. The first funeral with an open bar. In ancient Mesopotamia, doctors were paid more if the patient was rich. Some things never change. Romans used crushed sea urchins as a baldness remedy, the first spiky hair treatment. Pharaoh Pepi II tried to get rid of flies by covering servants in honey. The first questionable pest control method. So, which of these historical facts did you find most interesting? I guarantee there's at least one that will give you something to talk about in your next conversations. See you next time.